Let me tell you the story of a woman who fought the Kenyan government and won. Her name, Professor Wangari Maathai.
Blood because of our land. We are used to that. Our forefathers shed blood for our land. We will do so. This is my blood.
Not only did she win, she went on to influence the planting of over 30 million trees across Kenya and beyond. Prof. Wangari Maathai was born on the 1st of April 1940 in the highlands of Kenya. She understood early on, even before going green became the trend that it is today, that what happens to the land happens to its people. But this understanding took on a completely different meaning when rural women started complaining. The streams that Wangari Maathai herself had played in as a child and drank from were drying up. Food was less and less secure because land was no longer yielding as it once did, and the walks to go fetch firewood to fuel their stoves were getting longer and longer. For these women, environmental degradation was not some theoretical thing that was going to happen in the future. It was very real, and it was happening right now. And most of it could be traced back to politically motivated deforestation. Politicians were carving up pieces of forest and handing it over to large companies, commercial farmers, and other elite for their own political agendas. In response, Wangari Maathai founded the Green Belt movement, initially meant to implement what seemed like the simplest of solutions, to plant more trees. Wangari Maathai was able to mobilize women into small groups, teach them how to grow young trees in small nurseries, and then pay them a small compensation for the seedlings that survived. They carried this repeatable model from village to village, and over time, this led to the planting of over 30 million trees across Kenya. 30 million is a big fat number. I don't think we grasp the magnitude of this kind of influence. And if you thought that that was it, that's all that made her a badass, wait, let me give you a few more examples. She was the first East African woman to earn a PhD. Let's start there. In 1989, a politically connected developer moved to erect a 60-story tower in Nairobi's Uhuru Park. And Maathai said, "Not on my watch. Not if I am still breathing." She went on to write letters to the president, she wrote to the project financiers, she held press briefings and teachings in the park to educate people as to why this cannot happen. She led a lawsuit against the land grab, and all of this attention on the project caused funders to get nervous and pull away. Approvals for the project stalled, and the entire scheme collapsed. The park was saved. So if you go to Kenya today and you're able to go and take a nice leisurely walk in the Uhuru Park, you should know who to thank for that. In 1992, she was back at Uhuru Park, this time with the mother of political prisoners. These were mostly elderly women demanding the release of their detained sons. They camped at the Freedom Corner, prayed in shifts, and staged a whole hunger strike. When police moved in with batons and tear gas, some women stripped naked in defiance, a gesture that shocked the entire nation. She and others were detained and charged. She went to prison. But despite all that, despite the physical and mental toll, guess what she did when she was released from prison? She went right back to standing on business. In 1999, when parts of the Karura forest were being illegally allocated to private developers, Wangari Maathai again led protests. She and her fellow protesters took seeds into the Karura forest to plant as a symbolic claim to the land by its people. Midway through their peaceful protest, they were literally attacked by thugs. Thugs with clubs and stones and crazy stuff. People were injured during this protest. It was all captured on camera, so this generated massive public outrage. The pressure forced the Kenyan government to halt land grabs, securing Karura's protection, and strengthening the resolve of the Kenyan people to protect natural and public resources. These are just a few examples of what make Wangari Maathai such an incredible person. It's no wonder that she won a Nobel Peace Prize for her efforts. And even till today, after her death, so many around the world are inspired by what she was able to achieve in her lifetime. The Billion Tree campaign was inspired by her. The Motenai in Japan to reduce, reuse, and recycle were also inspired by her. Until today, these movements are going on and people are planting trees because why? Wangari Maathai happened. Wangari Maathai's obsessive dedication to protecting the environment and those who depend on it for their livelihood made all of this possible. So the reason I love the story of Prof. Wangari Maathai's life is because it is such a powerful example of that stubborn, obsessive dedication to a goal or cause. If you ask anybody what it takes to be successful, probably you hear things like, hard work, discipline, consistency, knowing the right people, and those are all true. I think something that's usually missing in these conversations, especially when you're trying to build something that is bigger than yourself, is a certain touch of madness, a certain type of obsession to the thing that you're doing, right? The way that I understand it is that obsession, when it is pointed at something bigger than yourself, can be a powerful creative force. To be obsessed with something or someone is not usually viewed in a positive way, except for maybe on social media when we say, oh my gosh, I'm so obsessed. I'm obsessed with this hair. I'm obsessed with this look. But we don't really mean that we are obsessed thing. It's a recipe for many kinds of disasters, right? So to then say an obsessive dedication to one's work, one's goals, one's life is a good thing can be a bit. But hear me out. I think that especially when you're trying to do something that is really different from what you, and this is not just on a big level like Wangari Maathai, right? It doesn't have to be national or global, even right down to the level of changing your own personal life, whether this is becoming more physically active, eating better, nurturing your relationships better, and all of those kinds of things. Because you're trying to go against the grain of what is normal to you, because you're trying to change from something familiar, something that you've grown used to, of old habits, into new habits, new patterns, new ways of being, there is that automatic resistance, because human beings as a species, we do not like change. We don't like change, even if this change is for our benefit. Even if the current situation is not serving us, we will face all kinds of obstacles when we are trying to change direction into something that is hopefully better for us, right? So trying to do that is similar to swimming against the current, and that can be very hard. So I think that to actually succeed, on top of the discipline, the thing that allows you to do the discipline, the hard work, the consistency, and all of those things that you need to do over time to achieve success in whatever it is you're working on, you need a little sprinkle of madness, just a little nyana of something loose in the head, because that is that little touch of madness that's going to allow you to say, yes, I know that this looks impossible. This is illogical. This doesn't make sense. We've never seen it before. We've never done this before, but we are going to do it because I am that mad person who can make it happen. Do you understand? So I think that level of obsession is important. I have recently restarted my content journey and my music journey. So Sam is laughing because I am digging deep into my lover girl spirit to move song. Sam, say hi to the people.
Hi.
Sam cannot believe I'm a lover girl. You don't understand. And I'm doing all of this while I am still working as a researcher at the university. So this is my visual diary in which I document that process, right? In doing all of this work, I have had to stretch myself significantly. Like, it's not even by choice. This thing has arrested me. Let me give you an example. When I was in the Netherlands for the summer school that I was attending on the academic work side of things, I had a full day. I had just done my lecture. It was a 2.5-hour lecture. So the prep leading up to that, doing the lecture, and all the other formalities that had to happen after that. And then a colleague of ours invited us to their place for dinner. So we went. It was great, lovely. Got home at midnight. I was supposed to just wind down and sleep, but then I had received this beat and it had been going at the back of my mind, and that time the inspiration started to come. I started to get the words, some melodies, and I was like, I am tired though, I am tired. But I couldn't sleep. Even if I had said I'm not going to write the song today, let's just keep it for tomorrow, I would not be able to sleep because this thing is, just going on and on and on at the back of my mind. So what did I do? I sat and I wrote the song. I let the spirit move me. Blessings on we were hustle to make this money. Riding up to the top now, running down to the top now. 4 hours later, it was 4 a.m. and that's when I finally got some sleep, like a couple hours before I had to get up again and join the summer school for the rest of its activities. Now, is that healthy? We can argue about it. We can argue about it. Is it sustainable? Definitely not. But in this particular moment of my life, I need that kind of, I have prayed for this thing to arrest me. I always understood that I needed this kind of stubborn relentlessness, going after the things that I wanted to succeed, because I've looked at the lives of many people that I admire, and it seems to be a common thread across all of these people who are doing things that I admire. They are a little bit crazy in the way they go after this thing. It's mad, right? My friend and I are always like, these high functioning people, how do they do it? You know how if you watch Beyonce documentary, she will say when she's working, whatever, she forgets to eat, she forgets to poop, she forgets to sleep, and she forgets that the other people around her need to do these things because they're normal people. She is a beast in that. And I always thought, wow, what does it even take? What kind of dedication and passion? How strong does a dream need to be for me to be able to forget that I have to eat? And it's not just that I'm glorifying hustle culture. I'm not trying to glorify just work. I'm not glorifying just hustle for the sake of hustling, for external validation, for other people to look at you in a certain type of way. No, I'm saying I have craved having a purpose so powerful, so big, that it refuses to let me have my way, that it forces me to be so possessed by it, to be so possessed by the vision, possessed by the dream, that I'm like, I can't go to sleep until I've done this thing. I can't eat until this thing is done, because it won't even let me enjoy the food. Do you understand? I've wanted that for a long time, because I had understood that without that, the things that I'm trying to build will not happen. And you can see they didn't yet happen. So I'm hoping that this point in my life where I'm like, maybe finally this is it. Maybe finally I am aligned. I'm able to really lock in on it and not let anything distract me. And like I'm saying, it's not just doing for the sake of doing. It's not just being busy for the sake of being busy, but it's doing what I need to do to serve the purpose that has arrested me. So that's the reason why that Wangari Maathai story was so inspiring to me. I have seen how combining obsession with a goal bigger than yourself, which can be such a powerful life force, right? Because she wasn't someone from a well-to-do background. She wasn't someone who had all the answers to her questions, who had all the resources and the networks that she needed to do the things that she needed to do. And yes, she had some, because she wasn't just anybody. She was Professor Wangari Maathai, right? So she had some things going for her, but there were also a lot of things that were not going for her. And her ability to mobilize people to do something so massive and so impactful, even though she was just one woman with a vision and just a stubborn dedication to what she wanted to achieve. And her legacy lives on. She's gone now, may her soul rest in peace, but there are people still planting trees. There are people who even know about conservation and what the relationship between us and the world around us even looks like, because of her work, because she refused to give in, right? So that's basically why I find that story so important and how it connects to my life personally. I'm gonna tell you another story of a woman called Marie Curie, and then we'll come back and have another reflection again like we've just done. So let's learn about who Marie Curie is and the absolute rock star that she was. Let's do it.